All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Tuesday, not Monday. Of course, we had off yesterday for Memorial Day. Hope everybody enjoyed the weekend. Of course, this is Tuesday, May 30th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Great to have all of our students and members alike inside our live trading room. We have Dan, Michael, Sam just before. I was working with a bunch of our students one-on-one on coaching calls just a moment ago. Great to see all of our students and members alike just joining us right now. So without further ado, folks, let's hop right into the meeting here. Have a couple of stocks making a pretty strong push upward at this time. I want to get the SPY chart up here too as we're kind of going through. I typically have it up. A little different chart here for right now. So SPY ended up just trying to make a small bounce just before. I don't know how much I believe that. So, I feel like we might get another lower high and a pullback lower into the close. That's just my very shoot from the hip feel. I mean, from the morning, I was correct with thinking that we'd get the pullback heading into the mid to late morning. I still think that there's a chance where we see the S&P look to break much lower into the close. And if it's not by the close today, perhaps it'll be in the after hours tonight into the morning tomorrow. But apparently that's not stopping ChargePoint, CHPT. Great to have Tony, one of our longtime members here. Tony joining us here. And with that, ChargePoint CHPT ended up making a pretty good push once the market had opened up today. I know a few of us were focused on this trade, more from our side list at first. It wasn't on the main morning watch list, on the pre-market list. Our eyes were focused on the AI sector, really. Hey, ChargePoint ended up making a great push in the morning, and it jumped on our radar at some point, and we've been following it since. Just before, I was on a coaching call with one of our students, and I was telling them, hey, the more times it knocks its head on this 970 level, perhaps we can get a very good trade heading into the afternoon. Well, earlier at first, it rebroke above 970, and this was very well timed. It took a trade out right off 970. Great start. Pushed up 15 cents, but it didn't continue. It ended up pulling back with the markets at the time. It's tough to see a stock swim upstream, and it ended up taking me out completely break even. Well, from there, it pulled back. I expected support to eventually turn into resistance, so I wasn't as keen to take the trade. Actually, I ended up not chasing it, but taking a tiny bit higher from where I wanted to, get back in off 970. Actually, I ended up seeing this big iceberg pop up on the bid a moment ago. Looks like that order just got pulled, so actually be careful. My stop is still set to break even here. So, just before, just about a 60,000 share iceberg order popping up on the bid at 969. Looks like that order got pulled just as we started the meeting. Hey, over time, let's see if this ends up laddering up. If this ends up pulling here and then building up higher, it's still pushing up here for right now. So, looks good. Right now, I'll definitely just put this on our main watch list to begin. We got major resistance up top at 10. I was telling my student on our coaching call earlier, the more times it knocks its head on that 970, there's a better probability of seeing this eventually move up closer to 10. So you don't want to jump in too far away from 970, 970-ish area, especially with the potential of a ladder on the bid. Let's see what else we got, though. ChargePoint, nice stock here, taking us into the afternoon. Of course, the AI stocks here. AI, C3 AI. I think they're coming out with earnings this week, I think on Thursday this week. So be on the lookout for that. Ended up having a big pop once the market had opened up once again today. And then from there, well, obviously a big, nasty shakedown. For as much as this stock in particular is pumping up over the last several months at this point, of course, we're going to begin to see more chaotic moves as people look to sell and dump off and take profits, especially off a gap up going into the next weekly candle. So I ended up having a big move initially, but then a big dump off. Over time, it tried to move back up again, moved up towards the highs roughly off that 41 level. And, I guess it's shaking around a lot, right? So if you're more of a level 4 trader and above, then you know who you are. Perhaps you're more inclined to follow this on any day. Right now, I'm going to put this on the side for right now. I've actually been using the AI trade more so to kind of shadow the other AI-related stocks here, just such as APLD from the morning here. The stock has been pretty strong all across the day. Pulled back a bit just with the AI once AI shook off a 41. Looks pretty synonymous there, pretty synced in there, I should say, in terms of time. But otherwise, though, this APLD, it's still up big. The liquidity is actually pretty good today for this one. Spreads are pretty tight for the meantime. I don't mind adding this with ChargePoint, CHPT. We got APLD here. What about SoFi? It's not an AI stock, obviously, but we were calling out SoFi actually heading into 2:15 Eastern, 2:20 prior to this meeting starting. Just saying, not just with the move back up, but I was looking to see support hold right off of 585, and it was already beginning to bounce off of there. So we needed it to hold above there, obviously, and Well, hey, if it can break through a big level and hold above it, the potential of seeing that big move upward greatly increases. And we were saying before, it looks like it's ready to make a move up to 6. And here we are now. So this would actually be a decent time to take a little money off the table and run, at least if you were in off the 585 call out. But yeah, alongside with the other two, I'll definitely just put this on our main watch list to start. Getting a nice little push on the SPY, a little bit more and more and more up we go. I'm not a full believer just yet. However, I'm a fan of all of these stocks that we've looked at thus far. I haven't traded EPLD today myself, I will say, but SoFi and ChargePoint, I have been really monitoring all throughout the day today. Took a couple of losses on ChargePoint just earlier, but then otherwise led to the re-entry, and then from there, really strong push up. Same with SoFi. I mean, I wasn't as inclined to focus on SoFi at the market open today. Personally, I was actually more inclined to focus in on TIGR, which, as much as this looks like a mess, this actually we hit head on the entry. Just failed to see this break higher. So, even this was actually a great trade from the morning. We had the Riot trade, RIOT, from the market open session today. We talked all about this inside our weekly workshop, Traders Talk. We've done that inside our live trading room. We'll have the recording of that up on the student dashboard for all of our members just later on this afternoon. Hey, while I'm at it, if you're joining us on YouTube today, YouTube, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc., go right to our YouTube channel up until this Friday. Fausto actually extended this offer up until this Friday, a new subscriber giveaway. Just subscribe right to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/cybertradingyou, and you could win a free month inside our live trading room to attend our live workshops, Traders Talk, get the recordings of all of them as well. But of course, be a member inside our room with our students like Levitan, Michael, Kathleen, Jith, Ravina right now. Yeah, I mean, for the meantime, Riot kind of making that bounce with the S&P here at the indices. It's tradable. Don't get me wrong. This was actually a money short earlier today. Coming off Traders Talk, I jumped onto a coaching call, and this was like ripe for the taking. Lower highs. It was almost like a big Fausto flag here, but the real level was off 1220. And essentially, once it rebroke under that and broke the lows here, easy to say, but that was a really good short. We had called it out at the time. The more times it's knocking its head on that floor, it should look to break through it. This stock is really tradable still at this time of the day, but I'm going to put this on our side list right now. This and the AI kind of start on the back burner for right now. All right, so with that in mind, at least, let's see what else we can get here heading into the market close. QTech, you got ATTO. These stocks up big here today. We'll check out the ATTO. Had popped up earlier, more so heading into Traders Talk, heading into our weekly workshop. This is pushing up. So, with us doing the workshop, then I didn't get my hands on this. Ended up pushing up really well, at least all throughout the mid to late morning, up towards 350 and above. Ended up kind of peaking and pulling back from there. Hey, it's still kind of hanging in, right? It hasn't completely went the other way. It hasn't dumped off just yet. In that sense, it's given it a shot, given it a fair shake to see if this could break higher here, or at least, over the next hour and a half. So I don't mind at least putting this back on our list, ATTO. I took a 2-cent loss on ACON just a moment ago here. I thought this would have been an opportune time, like kind of under and over, and just, hey, it wasn't making that big squeeze up like I was hoping to see it. It was actually right here, right before the big shakedown. Well, especially now at this point, I'm going to move on from this trade because, maybe I was looking for a second win type of move, like a quick pop up towards 110, 115 maybe, but there's definitely better trades out there now at this point. WLDS, more so from the mid to late morning here also, kind of during Traders Talk as well. I actually completely missed out on this trade. I didn't even notice this. Ended up popping from 150 up towards 220, 225. Great run. The stock we were very familiar with back from Thursday last week. Ended up seeing make a very strong pop up. Actually made a much better pop then compared to what I was expecting it to do. So, I got to start respecting the stock a little bit more, I reckon. But, for right now, it's still holding over the VWAP, but hasn't really broken out just yet again. So, at least I'll put it on the side list. I'll give it that respect. I'll come back to it. How about that? But, there's no need to build out a big list here, folks, when we already have a really good push on this ChargePoint trade. It's already on our main watch list, number 1 already. We got the SoFi stock still pushing up pretty strong up towards 6. There's a few trades already cooking, folks. We don't need to build out a big watch list now at this stage. AAIC, I definitely know, is some sort of agreement, we'll call it, if not a buyout altogether. Merger, agreement, buyout, however you phrase it, for a $4 stock, this thing isn't really moving too well. So I'll pass on that. For a dollar stock, it is moving well, this UTME, but the liquidity really is just pretty risky. I'd rather trade in a better stock than that. This kind of looks like a buyout also, looking at it zoomed out here from the daily chart, right? Or from the 1 minute chart, rather. Let me check the news out on this trade really quick, if you don't mind. I saw this up big in pre-market. I think I even put this on the pre-market watch list at that. I'll be really honest with you. It was moving so well then, I didn't assume it could be a buyout. What do we got here? Trading higher following a tentative debt limit agreement, which contains a provision to accelerate the completion of the Mountain Valley Pipeline. All right, so I'm not too familiar with the Mountain Valley Pipeline. Maybe you are. Right now, what I like about this trade is that it's moving up. It is moving up pretty steadily. I just didn't know if it was a buyout officially or not. So, if it was, then I definitely would not have been as inclined, pretty similar to the other trade that we just talked about. So, you know what? I actually like this one here for the afternoon. It's trying to go back up towards the opening price off of 850, 852. ETRN. Why not? We'll give it a shake. Give it a fair crack. Let's see if there's anything else looking good from the gainer side. There definitely could be. Even with the market, I'm not as confident on seeing break a higher high. Givo, cheapy here. It's pushing back up once again. It's just a little slow for my liking. I wish it was like a faster moving trade. I'd rather the WLDS over this. All right, AI, we said was on the side list. We'll come back to that just at the tail end. If it looks stronger by the end of this meeting, then we'll put it back on. BTBT, it's hard to avoid this stock here. Look at this. It's at the highs. It's trading about 10, 11,000 shares per minute. Hopefully it doesn't completely wane back down from this point, but it has all of the tradable characteristics that you want to see out of a stock. And I think Fausto was talking about this one from the morning session too. So you know what? I'll make room for this. Looks good. Charge point. It's already at 981, still looking pretty strong. I didn't know if it was pushing up higher there at the time since. Got Carvana pushing back up pretty strongly right now. So CVNA, not to be confused with CHPT. I'll add this, a stock that, pretty much most of us will just say are familiar with inside our live trading room. I'd say if you're not familiar with this trade, then you're probably just brand new, because this stock we've traded just routinely in the past. It's kind of a meme stock, but it's tradable. That's what makes it, just worthwhile for us to call out day to day. Good liquidity, good spread. We're not going to call it out every day, literally, but it had a nice pop in the morning, popped up on our scanners pretty quickly from there. And I'll be honest, I haven't really looked at it since. We called out the pullback and I took my eyes off it. But hey, running back into this trade again with it moving the way it is, definitely a great stock for this afternoon session. Comparative to IOVA, not so much. Comparative to GSID, it is pretty good. So GSIT, nice little pop just since 2 o'clock, broke above the highs there off at 560. Just false break over 6 first test. That's expected. Why not? More of an afternoon push. I just wish the liquidity fills in a little bit further on the order book, but good for right now. I'll add it. All right, so I'll tell you what, market is proving me wrong thus far. Hasn't shaken back down just yet, although it hasn't technically broken like a real high just yet. It's kind of creeping back up right now, but I'll check in on the SPY officially before we wrap up. How about that? I'll kind of take a look at the closing price from yesterday, see where we are in relation to that. I know that we're up a few pennies above it right now, but all right, let's hop over to the loser side here. Bunch of stuff hard to borrow. Kind of skip over those to begin, and really nothing down as much to look for a real dead cat bounce, real squeeze up. I know Big Lots ended up reporting earnings this morning. They dropped off at the open. Hard to borrow from me. If you can get shares to short big, then give it a shot. Otherwise, maybe trying to day trade the puts on it if it breaks lower. But for right now, we have so many stocks on our list here at this point. See if there's anything looking much better than this. But otherwise, we'll kind of call it. It's an ETF, UCO. All right, folks, really, I could just tell there's not as much down percentage-wise, perhaps, or at least if it is, it's hard to borrow. Can't get the shares to short it, or it's just too cheap, or it's just not trading enough volume. So, if there is anything else looking really good, up, down, left, right, type it in the chat board here. Let me know. Just checking Benzinga here really quickly. I may have one or two. I just have to take a look at the chart, see what it looks like on the chart. But VSTM maybe? Nah, this thing's not. I mean, it's trying to crawl off of $1 right now, I reckon, 102. But pass on that one for right now. And KOPM, it's at the highs. I don't know if I skipped over this one, actually. Maybe it just popped up as we were going from top to bottom. Not terrible. That's better, at least, than the other one. Beat, doing nothing there. Tupperware, trying to squeeze, but for right now, I'll pass on it. I just think there's better opportunities right now. I'm just going through my Benzinga Pro scanner here pretty quickly, getting a small little push up on top. But folks, unless if you're here to specifically gamble and you're trying to trade a stock on a 20-cent spread, I'd rather you trade a stock on a tighter spread. So, yeah, I'm going to pass on this top trade. Not worth my time. It's just a distraction. Mike here in the Cyber Group room saying side list W. It is pushing up a little bit there, Mike, isn't it? Hey, if you did well on this stock from earlier today, then you definitely know who you are. I'm speaking to anyone not Michael, because Michael knows who he is. He's going to be trading this one, I'm certain. And if he's in it already, I hope he's doing well. So, definitely side list. Up big, though. I didn't really focus on this just before, so nice shout. All right, what do we got from Sam saying Vuzi? Not bad, not a bad shout, right? I mean, it's up big. I just wish it was trading more volume per minute. Spreads are good. Order book's good. Just wish it was trading actively more volume per minute. I'm going to write this down, though, at least. Vuzi for the side list, though. I mean, by all means, it's like tradable. Felix there we go. I'm just going from bottom to top there, and I want to get to the stocks that we already had on our side list at the end, like WLDS from Warren and AI from Phil. What we said that we'd go back to those anyway. CVNA we already put on the main list there. Michael wrote that before. Felix with top we talked about just a moment ago as well. So let's see what else we got here. Let's just go down the side list to wrap up. AI back over 40. So since we left off with this trade, it ended up blasting over 40. Giving it perhaps more life left on this trade. So we'll jump back to Palantir. Wow, PLTR is back over my 1485, isn't it? I was looking for that support to hold earlier, and I ended up getting stopped out from -2 or -3 just before as it pulled under it. But, hey, obviously there's other trades out there. It dumped off a lot more since, and, now pushing back above that 1485 price. Let's just see what else we got here first. Riot. Again, I'm not really too antsy to put this on our main list just yet. I'd rather that AI trade. I'd rather Palantir. WLDS, I think, is done for the time being. Givo, I think, is a little too slow for my blood. All right, so that gets it down to Vuzi. That gets it down to AI, and it gets it down to the PLTR. You know what? Out of all three, I'm going to put Vuzi on that list. Hopefully, Vuzi pops up on more people's scanners, and we see more volume traded on that stock heading into the close. Obviously, PLTR and AI are both tradable by all measures. So if you've done well on PLTR and if you've done well on AI, again, you know who you are out there. Then I would recommend for you personally to chart that stock again, or at least sink your teeth into that and see if it can make another push higher. If not, though, I'd rather you focus on CVNA. I'd rather you focus on Vuzi or SoFi or ChargePoint. There is a lot to work with here heading into the close, folks. The last thing that you want to do is just make a call out to make a call out. Focus on the 2 stocks that you're focused on, or 3 stocks, and then don't let anything else distract you. If nothing out of those 2 or 3 stocks that you're going to choose ends up making a respectable move by 3 p.m. in about 10 or so minutes from now, then at that point, see what's moving in the trading room. Then at that point, rescan the market at that stage. But that's how we look to kind of structure ourselves as traders all throughout the day, obviously from the morning and pre-market all the way to right now. So obviously we look to cover that all throughout our main trading curriculum. I know that Fausto will be conducting the phase 3 class towards the latter portion of this week. He had to move the classes just a day behind. So Thursday, Friday this week, Fausto will be resuming the classes with the phase 3 stock course. All right, so for Kathleen, for Grant, for Jith and Michael and Phil and Grant and all of us there right now, Warren included, let me know if you have any questions, folks. I'll be here on the chat board up until 3:30 for all of us on social media. Once more, just make sure that you send over any questions right to my email address, josh@c2trading.com. And then if you're interested in joining us inside our live trading room, hey, there's a chance for you to win a free month. And that goes the same to be said for any of our members actively there right now. If you're not subscribed yet to our YouTube channel, we're tracking everything as we've been doing from the end of last week. So, we're extending this promotion up until Friday. Open house. If you are not a subscriber yet to our YouTube channel, just subscribe before Friday, and we're going to look to announce the winner. You may look to win a free month inside our live trading room. If you're there now, we'll just tack it on with your membership. Simple as that. All right, folks. But hey, best of luck trading going into the market close. We'll catch back with everyone going into tomorrow.